A month ago, I believe we sold 20,000 of omelets just for 1 month. The way to put this together and to make food in 2 minutes, you're gonna have everything ready to go. So we're gonna prepare for the plate. You're gonna need potatoes, hard cook. These vegetables were already done. At the diner, we pre-cook the bacon. This is the only way you're gonna be successful because bacon normally takes in the flat top 7 to 8 minutes, which we don't have 7 to 8 minutes. We have 2 minutes or less. The key for a good omelet, you get the eggs, you get some water and Tabasco, and you whisk it. At Brooklyn Diner, we normally pre-whisk the eggs, so this is the only way you can survive. Because when you get 25, 30 orders at once, it's impossible to break eggs out of menu, all right? Follow me, here you go. So we're gonna do oil, all right? Olive oil. Same bacon that we use it, we just chop it up. Now the bacon is getting hot. We're gonna put fresh herbs, parsley and tarragon, all right? Now tarragon is a bitter herb. You might say, oh, it's too strong, but once you mix it together, it really makes sense. Salt. Normally put salt in my eggs, but I put salt in the eggs, not here. So we go here, salt, that's it. We're ready to go. The omelet can be cooked in a second. Like, this is weird. When you cooking it, it doesn't happen, it doesn't cook. When you just move to your left to do something, next thing you know, the omelet's completely cooked. And instead to be an omelet, it's in a scramble. It's like, oh my God, let's do it again. Yeah, you need to keep the eye on it. That's important. All right, so you get in there. You see it? It's like a gelatin. That's what you're looking for. And it's gonna get to the point that you can't move anymore. You just gotta let it seat so you can make the omelet. Cheddar cheese we normally use. Now, the more cheese, the better, right? All right, so once this is ready, you can see it. You see how it moves it here? All right, so now we're gonna make an omelet. All right, look at that. Look at that beauty.
A French omelette is moist. It should be non-dry, non-color, and using only fresh ingredients. And that's how we like it in France. If you go to Paris, every bistro has a fine herbs omelette on their menu, and that's what I'm gonna make today. So I'm gonna use parsley, chervil, and chives. It's not like bay leaves, where it's a big. No, those are fine. They are very, very subtle when you taste. Les herbes fines, les fines herbes, we call it. Très sensible et goûteuse. Very sensible and tasty. Delicate and fresh herbs. The chives is a little bit bitter and peppery, but it goes well with the omelette. Chervil is the same family as the parsley, but it's more fragile. It gets bad very quickly, so that's why it's difficult to find. But if you go to France, everybody in his garden has chervil, chives, and parsley. So now I'm gonna chop curly parsley. When you cook it, it stays green. The flat has a tendency of losing its color, so for presentation it's not very ideal to use the flat. So now I'm gonna put some salt, pepper. The whisk is too brutal for the eggs. The French, you know, we love taking care of our eggs. With the fork, it's much better. It's gonna be so much more fluffy and moist, and you're gonna have those white mixed with the yolks. Mix it again one more time, and then we're ready to cook. The French omelette must be cooked gently, with no heat. Most of the people, they make their pan very hot. The omelette gets dry. In French cooking, we use clarified butter for most everything because it doesn't burn. It's a non-stick, so we don't need too much. And then I'm gonna add the eggs. Well, first it's gonna cook a little bit. Then I'm gonna mix it just like this. You see it's already cooking. I'm gonna fold it like I call it football, you know. It's gotta be oval, you see. When you see that it's still liquid inside, you just wait a little bit. And then depends how you like it. You can cook it well done. I love it medium rare, but only one choice. What I like to do after is to brush it with a little bit of clarified butter to make it shiny and pretty. There you go, bon appétit.
It's especially important to have your mise en place set for an omelet because an omelet cooks very quickly, and if you spend an extra second looking for something, your dish is going to be ruined. You're going to have to make it again. I cracked the egg on a flat surface because I know none of the shell is going to fall into the bowl, and it just creates a nice little pocket on the side of the egg. So the salt and pepper are just going to add a little flavor. The salt is going to hold on to moisture, and it's also going to gently make the proteins more tender too. So you're gonna whisk your eggs until it looks homogeneous. So it might take a minute or so. I can tell who's new in culinary school because they'll get tired whisking very quickly. So it's always okay to change arms. So we're gonna heat our pan to medium high. Usually with eggs, it's a lower temperature, but we're gonna move very quickly so we can work with a higher heat. So I'm gonna add a little clarified butter. It's delicious, and it's also gonna be able to go a higher heat than butter. Wait 10 seconds for it to get hot, and go ahead and add our eggs. You can see it start to cook along the outside almost immediately. You're gonna work very quickly. Push the outsides towards the inside, and you'll see it starts to fill in the negative space you create. And once it starts to slow down the filling in, then you can lower your heat and spread it around. When I'm about 90% cooked, I'm gonna add my filling right along the center. It's very common for people to be ambitious and overfill their omelets, but it's not gonna hold together. A little bit of cheese, lift my pan up. With the handle facing me, start to roll the omelet. I should get one more roll out of it. Make sure it looks nice. And that's our omelet with a little salad. I give myself an A+.
Hayashi rice is a Japanese omelette rice. Eggs, one of the 4 pieces, and heavy cream and a little bit salt. Then mix together, mix well. Then after that, strainer. Yeah, just make sure that no shell. Heat the fry pan. Oh, this is very important. Mix very well. It's a very soft, smooth. Put the oil, like 1 ounce oil, the omelette base, the mix. So first of all, mix like a scrambled egg. Make like a shaved rugby ball. The surface is well done, but inside half cooked, very soft. Inside creamy, outside cook. Then my omelet's finished. Next, the rice. Hayashi sauce is a demi-glace sauce with onion, mushroom, beef slice, then tomato, little ketchup, the parsley flake. This is a perfect Hayashi omurice.
So for my omelet recipe today, I'm gonna be doing what I do in the morning when I have no time and just want something big and something protein filled. Okay, so my first step is gonna be to crack the eggs open. So I'm putting in some pepper right now. We're just gonna whisk. I think it's so much easier to use a fork just because you don't have to clean it. You have to clean the fork, but like it's just so much easier to clean than a whisk. This is a splatter screen that my grandma used to use when she cooked. Yeah, we replace the tin foil and then clean it sometimes. I cover it because it cooks faster. This is mozzarella. It's fresh mozzarella and I just sliced it. Love arugula because it just tastes beautiful, but I also like color and everything. And then sometimes I just like to brown the sides of my egg by letting butter go off the edges of a pan. And if it's already like not cooked kind of on the top, it sticks way better so it rolls rather than just kind of flopping off. I still need to let it cook, but I think it's chillin'. Oh yeah, the cheese is looking so good. So this is a block of wood. It's my favorite thing. I feel like it just makes everything so much like fancier. Now, just to make it look pretty and to make you feel like you're at a restaurant, you put things in random places. We're also gonna put some parsley on, just adding color. I love the taste of smoked paprika. And then this is just like a local hot sauce that I like. All right, so then we're gonna just add a little bit of a, there we go. This is my omelet a la joy.
The omelet I'm making today is a French omelet, very simple, very straightforward, but must be executed correctly. I like to do a 3-egg omelet. I think it gives you enough eggs to work with so that you can still have enough filling to keep it custardy. You want to make sure everything's really scrambled nicely, but don't want to over-incorporate too much air into them. Salt. So after I whisk the eggs, I like to strain it. I just find that it does clear out any whites and some foam in there, which I think helps with the texture. So when cooking an omelet, you want to use a lower heat, low to medium, so that the proteins aren't over-coagulating. We cut all our butter into cubes at the restaurant. It just makes it easier to add it in when you're cooking a lot of omelets. It also allows for consistency, so you could say something takes 2 cubes or 4 cubes. So as the butter starts to melt, I'm going to add my eggs in. And I'm just gonna immediately start stirring them. With the soft scramble French omelet, you really want to kind of cater to the eggs. Can't let them sit on their own for too long. Turn that off. I'm also gonna now add a pinch of the herbs in. I like to do it closer to the end, just so it kind of keeps some of that, fresh herb flavor in it. So as the eggs start to kind of soft scramble, I like to start letting it set on the bottom a little bit. This is when I would start rolling the omelet to the edge of the pan. Sometimes if it's sticking a little more than you would like, we do add another little piece of butter in. So we get to the end, and this is when we'll flip it right out. And then elevate it with a touch of roe. Nothing too crazy, but it gives it a really nice salinity and a little extra pop and texture. Just to give it a touch of brightness because it is so rich and velvety. Put a little lemon zest. This is my go-to breakfast, and this looks perfect to me.
This is gonna be a Spanish tortilla. The Spanish tortilla is the Spanish omelet, not necessarily kind of an American diner omelet, but this is gonna be the Spanish omelet taken to another level with added kimchi and Korean spices. All right, so we're gonna heat up the pan real quick, get some olive oil in there. What we've done is we've par-cooked potatoes, onions, roasted kimchi. Right now I'm adding the kimchi. It's gonna add some spiciness, some of that fermentation, the sourness that we like, and kind of just make the tortilla a little more complex. And I'm gonna crack some eggs so that we can whisk them together. The key to a great Spanish tortilla is gonna be making sure that you temper the eggs first, just so that it doesn't get shocked by the heat. If I were to add some of the egg directly to the heat or this super hot mixture into the eggs would start cooking. Now I wanna let this sit for a little bit. That's gonna drop the temperature. It's gonna coagulate the mixture a little bit. It's gonna develop the flavors so that when I add it back into the pan, we can start the omelet. I have our pan warm with a little bit of olive oil. We have our tempered mixture ready to go. The key to a great tortilla, Spanish tortilla, is making sure that the insides still stay gooey. A lot of people in Spain want it as runny as possible, kind of like an over easy egg. But the idea is we're kind of having it that medium rare texture. So bottom part is cooked. What we're gonna do now is we're gonna flip. Speed is your friend here. If we do it too slow, the tortilla is gonna collapse, it's gonna break apart. And slide it back in and finish cooking on the inside. It has kind of the fluffiness of an American omelet, but it also has that custardiness that we love on the inside of a French omelet. And what you wanna do is to kind of help form the shape of the omelet of the tortilla is you wanna take your spatula and kind of round out the edges. So we have our tortilla here. Some aioli, an emulsification of garlic, egg yolk, and some vinegar. This is our Spanish tortilla with kimchi.
With me, you don't have to sacrifice flavor with also nutrition. I'm gonna make a classic omelet. For a client, this is like the perfect way to start their day after a high intensity workout, loaded with nutrients, loaded with lots of flavors. So as this butter is melting, I'm gonna go ahead and just start whisking my eggs. I like to make sure my eggs are nice and frothy, nice and bubbly. Same thing with my butter. Once it's nice and bubbly, then I know it's ready to go. So now what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna just do a soft scramble. I wanna keep the integrity of the shape, like a circle. All right, this is starting to look good. So for me, I like seafood. A lot of my clients enjoy seafood. So I'm gonna add some fresh lobster pieces right in the middle. Turn this up. Add some fresh crab. I'm gonna top it with some salt and pepper. And honestly, let's get fancy. Let's add some freshly grated Asiago. Okay. Let this cook a little bit more. This is an everyday meal for some of my clients. I've spoiled them. Whatever they ask for, I just deliver. I know chefs usually like their omelets to be a little more blonde, but I like a little crust on my eggs. So now we're gonna add a Cajun cream sauce that's loaded with fresh crab and fresh lobster. I also incorporated some shallots, some garlic, some fresh thyme, and also a little bit of cilantro. And now I'm adding some chives for garnish.
I'm gonna be making an Italian version of Japanese rolled omelet with all the flavorings from anchovy pizza. While the pan is heating, we'll mix the eggs, add in our seasonings, which are anchovies and something we call slice spice, which will also go on top of the omelet at the end. It's essentially Italian furikake. It's everything that goes on a regular slice at a slice shop: oregano, chili, black pepper, and a few extra things that we add to make it our own. Kambudashi is really the beginning of the backbone stock of Japanese cooking. This is mixed with what we call tomato power, that is part reduced tomato water and part reduced tomato kombucha that we make. We're not trying to mix a ton of air into the egg. We're actually going to pop any air bubbles. The air bubbles are really gonna prevent the structure that we're looking for, and we're ready to start cooking. We're gonna put an even layer of oil on the pan. I'm cooking the omelet layer by layer, those 2 little eggs, making 4 layers, rolling them on each other, and now we're gonna turn it out onto a sushi mat to adjust the shape and make sure they're really together. This compresses the layers and makes sure that they're not gonna fall apart when we slice it. I'm gonna finish this with olive oil, a bit of lemon zest for freshness, and more of the sliced spice to really drive that pizza flavor home.
At the Plaza, we take breakfast very seriously because that's the first meal of the day. So it's gonna be a French style omelet with lobster and some caviar. This is what's make the Plaza really luxury. The key to have a great omelet is always to have a cage-free eggs freshly delivered every day. We always absolutely use the best ingredient at the Plaza Hotel. You can see how it is really fresh. The egg yolk, you can see it is very dark in color. Just take some pinch of salt and some nice black pepper, freshly grounded. So to have the best taste of omelet, you always use clever butter. Put a small spoon inside here. Keep mixing the eggs, ensure like it's not always in the pan. Make sure like, not to keep it always in the heat. You would just take it back and forth to make sure like you have a perfect cooked omelet. Once the omelet almost set, we can put our mix of lobster. So this is the lobster, we have it like blanched and just mixed with basil and lemon dressing as well. There's a big difference between like a guest ordering omelet in the restaurant or ordering in the room. In the restaurant, we cook it almost like 95%, but when it's in the room, we cook it almost 80%. We don't cook it fully cooked because if a guest like in 10th floor or 15th floor in the hot boxes, that's gonna continue cooking. So we have a sourdough toast with avocado inside, like we have a mix of avocado, scallions, and lime. And then we have the omelet. We use the claw on the top because just presentation and just like very soft part of the lobster. You take a nice sour cream, spoon. Add the caviar just for more luxury. I'm 100% sure that's the best breakfast you can have in New York City.
In making meals for the world's longest flights, there's a lot to take in. And when we design the dish, we want to design around good nutrition and wellness, digestibility. Flavor is the most important, but obviously it has to be enjoyable, and enjoyable 9 hours later. So first we're going to start off by putting a little extra virgin olive oil into the pan. We're trying to keep fats minimal here. One of the worst things to have on an airplane is an uncomfortable passenger. Imagine if you had this gigantic big burger with bacon and cheese. Sounds great until you're 9 hours into the flight and you still have another 8 hours to go. Now we're gonna add into this our shiitake mushrooms first. Having a veggie filling in the omelet has a lot to do with helping you digest that. All right, we're gonna add in our fresh zucchini now, and we're gonna add in our bell pepper. Salt is important, it helps us taste, but at the same time, too much salt is not good, especially in an aircraft. It's gonna cause swelling, and that's really something we're trying to avoid. Crack of fresh pepper, and now to make up for that missing salt, we're gonna add in some sumac, which is a wonderful zesty spice, and a little crushed red chili flake. Let's start with the omelet. So we're gonna put the pan on cold, ready to go. We're starting to set up, and I kind of like to just keep mixing this like it almost looks like scrambled eggs. Now this is our cue to add in our vegetables. And we're gonna put a little sprinkle of Monterey Jack cheese. This is adding some good fats and some good protein. So we're gonna roll this omelet up now in thirds and then pull it out onto our foil kit. This is what is gonna be used to reheat the egg on board the aircraft. So we have our vinaigrette, and we're gonna add some arugula into our foil. So this is what they would end up getting on board. The flight crew will see this, and then we're gonna now plate. The seam is up so that the crew can roll the omelet now onto the plate. We're going to top it with our arugula. And now the last but not least is we're going to add our vinaigrette. Most people would be like, and they're not gonna put vinaigrette on an omelet, but again, go back to on board. I don't have a lot of salt here. I don't have a lot of fat. I want to have a nice, light, bright flavor profile for the passenger. And we're just going to drizzle this around. And the amazing thing is here, I am a professional chef doing this for you, and the flight crew on board the aircraft do this exact same plate up. It's really amazing. This looks exactly what I hope to see on board my next flight.
So today we're making a spinach and cheese omelet wrap with a little bit of roasted tomato salsa. Our omelets do come pre-prepared because it is very difficult to feed over 1 million kids every single day. So this is why we have most of our proteins pre-cooked already to ensure nutritional standards. But all of the proteins that we receive are 100% natural, antibiotic free, and they're humanely raised. So the first thing that we have to do is heat up the omelet to 160 degrees. We're gonna make our roasted tomato salsa. Even though the tomatoes do come in a can, our job is to introduce a little more elaborate recipe making by having a variety of spices. I am adding some cumin and chili powder, chili flakes, but I will be adding just a tiny bit. We are serving children, so we have to be careful with some of the flavor profiles that we are introducing. There's going to be some garlic as well, a small pinch of salt. And we're gonna spread this on a sheet, pop it in the oven at 350 degrees for 20 minutes. Next is a pico de gallo, but with a twist. This pico de gallo will consist of pears and apples, peppers, cilantro, lemon juice, and garlic. This is a fun way to show the kids that the apples don't have to be boring. Acid helps compensate for the lack of sodium and sugar. It helps marry all of the flavors into a cohesive, delicious dish. So now that we have our omelet right out of the warmer, even though our proteins come pre-cooked, we have to ensure that they come up to temp just to ensure safety. I'm gonna temp my tomatoes as well. Excellent. We're gonna take the tortilla wrap. All of our wraps and breads are at least 51% whole wheat. Then we're gonna add some fresh spinach because we want some fresh greens in there. We're gonna place the eggs on top of the spinach, 2 slices of American cheese, and a nice scoopful of our beautiful tomato salsa. So all of these ingredients here fulfill the requirement for a healthy breakfast. Excellent.
That's a good omelet.
美味しいです。
It's perfect.
Okay, can I say that?
That is delicious.